Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to again practice long division. Yes, this is third grade going into fourth, so we're going to practice long division with our strategies. Now, I'm going to talk through how I would do a problem, so I'm going to ask you guys to wait and not call out at this time. I'm just going to show you how I think through, and if I need hands, I'll ask for hands. All right, so here's our problem. We have 222 divided by 2. All right, it's all set up. Now I'm going to say to myself, I know that this sign means it's time to divide. And I know I'm doing long division. So I could have a remainder. I'm going to keep that right here. Now, what's my first step? I could look at the strategy poster. Okay, my first step for long division is going to be to divide. Now let's remember that acronym. Does anyone remember the acronym? Let me see if I can remember. Do you guys know it too? Does McDonald's sell burgers? Very good. I'm going to write that at the top of my paper so I don't forget it again because I had trouble remembering it there. Does McDonald's sell burgers? Now, what does the D stand for? Let me remember. Divide. So that's my first step. Divide. I'm going to draw a division symbol above the D. Okay, now M is my second step. What does that stand for? Multiply. So I'm going to put a times, a multiplication symbol above the M. So DMS. S is for subtract. I remembered. Okay, I'm going to draw a subtraction symbol. And finally, B is for bring down. Step number 4 is bring down. And I think a good symbol for that would be our down arrow because that's what we're going to do on our paper when we solve this problem anyway. Okay, so I'm going to put that over the B, bring down. So now I have divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Let's tackle this problem. I have all my tools. All right, so 2 fits into 2. How many times? Now I could say to myself one of two things. I could ask how many times 2 fits into 2, or I could say 2 times what equals 2. I'm going to get the same answer because 2 fits into 2 one time. 2 times 1 is 2. So I'm going to put the 1 on the top of that line. All right, so let's check again. What comes after that? Multiply. I'm going to multiply 1 times 2. It's going to give me 2. And I'm going to put that under the 2. All right? So I've just multiplied. What comes next? Subtraction. So I will subtract 2 minus 2, draw my line, get a 0. Okay? And now it's time for that fourth and final step. Bring down. So I'm going to scooch over to the tens place and bring down the next 2. Put a 2 there. Great. Okay, I'm all done, right? All right, see you guys later. Wait, what? I'm not done? Oh, I have to start over. And you know how I'm going to remember I have to start over? I'm going to draw an arrow back at the top where I have DMSB. From B, I'm going to draw an arrow all the way back to D. It's time to start again. And we're going to start again until the hundreds, the tens, and the ones place is all filled up. So let's keep going. All right, now we say 2 fits into 2. We already know this one time. So we're going to put it back at the top. Okay, time to multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, and it's time to bring down. What are we bringing down, the 1? No, we're bringing down the number in the ones place. That means we're almost done. We'll bring down the 2, and do the same thing over again. Start from the beginning. 2 goes into 2 one time. 1 goes up at the top. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Now, because we got a 0, we do not have to calculate for remainder at this point. We'll do another problem next where we have to find remainder, but I just wanted you guys to remember DMSB. And with that tool, we got the answer 111. 111. Let's put a box. I'm going to put a box around that so I remember that that's my final answer. All right, so what does this mean? We know, we asked ourselves, how many times does 2 go into 222? And we ended up with the answer 111. So that means, I guess I'm thinking about this, that 2 would fit in to 222 111 times. What does that mean? That means that if I had 111 groups, right? Each one of those groups would have how many inside of it? 222? No, because that's the total. So it must be 2. If I had 111 groups, that means that 2 would be inside each of those groups. All right, that's the answer I came up with today, and that's how I worked through it. Now I'm going to give you a practice problem, and you can work with your group mates to decide what's going to happen with your problem. Okay? When you guys finish doing that with your group, I'll be walking around to check. We will present to the class how you solved your problem. Okay? And after that, you'll do one completely on your own. Very good. Now, when your other group mates come up, they can show you their strategies, because these things can go in different ways. There's not one way to do something, right? Remember I said you can ask yourself, how many times does 2 fit into 2? Okay, it fits in just one time. But you can also say 2 times what equals 2, and you're gonna get the same answer. Okay, so there are multiple ways to do one step. Now, what is important is that we follow the tool we have in the correct order, right? DMSB, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Yes. Why don't we just, oh, this is a great idea. So we have a student suggesting that something we could have done is to look at the problem and know that our total is 222 and we're dividing it by 2. So when we divide by 2, we're really just doing what? We're just splitting the total in half. Dividing by 2 means we're splitting in half. So what two equal numbers added together equal our total of 222? Well, we can start by rounding. Rounding is a skill we all have. We learned it in 2nd grade. So we could know, okay, so our total is 222. That's really close to what number? That's really close to 200. So if we were to split 200 in half, we have 100 and 100. 100 plus 100 is 200. Good. Now what about the 22? So we've done the 200 part, but there's still, remember our number is 222. Okay, so if we split 200 in 2, we split that, we have 100 and 100. But what happens when we split 22? What 2 equal parts make 22? That's right, 11 and 11. Okay, so that means we're going to have to add 100 plus 11, and guess what? We get the same answer we got when we did long division. 111 plus 111 equals 222. Good. was 3 different ways to do that problem. All right, everybody, great job. And remember, don't assume you don't know how to do this. Just because it's long doesn't mean you don't have the tools. We have our tools: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Remembering that we can split it or divide it into fourths. These are also things you can do. And finally, remember you can ask yourself on the D step 2 questions. You can say, how many times does blank fit into blank? Or blank times blank equals blank. Blank times what equals blank, and you will get the same answer. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm gonna split you into your groups. I'll come around and check. We will present to each other, and then you're off on your own. Let's do this.